So when you submitted your first reflections, they should have been around 600 words. That's what I told you to shoot for. And when you respond to some of my comments, you're probably making them just a little bit longer. I'm pretending 800 words, although that's probably a bit much. And you might still have time to respond to some of my comments after today. I understand that. But today, what we want to do is take all of that and try to tighten it down. I'm even arguing for 300 words. I don't know if we'll get there. Some of you will not get there. Some of you have really long reflections. But that's what our goal is for today, is to really try to figure out what's in the reflections that needs to be there and what can you cut. So here are my goals for you. You're going to both be the edited as well as the editor, right? We're going to mix things up in the class. As an editor, you're going to get to know your classmates. You're going to get to see some of the things that they've written about this semester, which is incredibly important. You might get some ideas about things to write about if you haven't finished your reflections yet. It might give you some good ideas. And you get to play being an audience member, which I think is incredibly important. And it'll help you notice when you get distracted by things, and that might actually help improve your own writing. So that's one of my thoughts there. As a writer being edited, you're going to start to notice when you're getting too wordy because your editor on your particular piece is going to be crossing things out. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And you're going to be reminded of when you were assuming your audience has inside knowledge. This is key. This happens every semester. I would say there's at least a third to a half of you who in at least one of your reflections has said something like, I went into Exley and... If you were writing for anyone outside of Wesleyan, they have no idea what you're talking about when you say Exley, right? So we have to get rid of some of those Wesleyan-specific references as well as some of the class-specific references, because you're not making these websites for me, and you're not making these websites for the other people in this class, or even really the other people at Wesleyan. You need to start thinking about writing for an audience that's not here. So hopefully that's something that your editor can help you with. Much like the bullet here, you'll also learn when your audience is getting distracted or bored, judging by what people cross out on you. So that's the point of being edited, is you get some sense of that. All right, but let's be honest, editing really, really hurts. It's painful. A lot of you are going to wince when you get your edited stuff back. I do too. One of my favorite stories at Trinity, where I used to work, was that I was in charge of accreditation at Trinity. And so I had written this letter that was going to go out to the entire campus about the accreditation process. And I sent it to my boss, the dean of faculty, and he edited the crap out of it. It looked horrible. Like he track changed it in Word. And I was like, ugh. Made the edits, we sent it out. And later that day I taught, and I told my students, because we were about to do an editing round on something, I said, look at what my boss just did to me, right? Like, so this happens and will never stop happening. And really what you need to do is try to flip the script in your head and think of editing as not some nasty critique of you, but someone who's actually giving you a gift. They're trying to help you write something that's tight so that someone else, probably someone else who's a lazy, casual reader to your website, can read it and wants to read it and will willingly read it from beginning to end because it's not too long and it's not too wordy. It's hard because in college, we basically encourage you to write a lot, and we don't really encourage you in many instances to really tighten up what you write, right? Like you tend to think of longer papers as better papers. Hopefully at least some of you have had classes where the faculty member has said it can only be 2 pages and it cannot be any longer than that, because it's a really good exercise to get used to tightening up your writing. So think of that, especially when you get your edits back, right? It's a gift, it's a gift. But when you're giving edits to somebody else, yeah, don't be shy here. Edit them, you're giving them a gift. Like you really need to drive that home in your head. So keep that all in mind.